Hey everybody, welcome to my Analog Project 2012, and for the month of July I'm shooting with a Pentax Auto 110. This camera released by Pentax in 1979 and was sold through 1983. At the time it was the world's smallest SLR camera, considered by some as a spy camera, mainly because it was so small and compact. But I didn't think of it as a spy camera. This camera shoots 110 film, and if you're unfamiliar with 110 film, this is 110 film right here. So it's a cartridge-based film. The film is inside. You have a window that shows you what frame you're on. The camera also reads the ISO from a notch that's on the film cartridge itself. So this just drops down inside and you advance it and you start shooting. Kodak made this film for a long time, and it was eventually picked up by Fuji as well. So the combination of Kodak and Vivitar, these cameras right here, this Vivitar camera, there wasn't a household in America that did not have a Vivitar 110 film camera in a junk drawer somewhere, perhaps in the kitchen. You drop your film down in here and you advance till you get to the start of the film, and you just press the button to take the picture. Some had flashes, some didn't. You just turn on the flash right here. Some of these ran on batteries, some didn't. This one had a battery. I think it was like a AA battery or something like that. But it's real easy to use. Has a fixed focus lens. Took pretty decent pictures, these types of cameras. I really never used this one. I had this one in the car as an emergency camera to photograph if I got into an accident or something. But there you go, Vivitar. Still around today, still making stuff, I think, but not 110. 110 film has seen a resurgence in popularity due to the lomography people. They are putting out 110 film once again, encouraging people to pull out their 110 film cameras and start shooting again. You can get it processed through those guys and a few others. So anyway, as far as the Pentax Auto 110, this camera, I wanted this camera as a kid. When this camera came out, I was still shooting 110 film. I had a Vivitar camera. I had a Kodak, I think it was called a Trimlite or something like that, Trimlite camera, shot 110 film. But this is the one that I wanted, and this camera came as a kit with a lens and then an expanded or a deluxe kit that included several lenses and other accessories like this one right here. This is a winder that attaches to the bottom of the camera. It runs on AA batteries, and it had a crack, so I had to fashion some Velcro to keep the cover on here to keep the thing powered. But when this is attached, you can just take pictures and it automatically advances to the next frame. So I don't use this because it makes the camera more bulky, and I like the small compact size of the camera. I don't want to take it away from its what I consider its main beauty of being small and compact. But this camera, once again, has a 24mm f2.8 lens. The aperture on here is not adjustable. It's static at f2.8, so that's all you get. The shutter inside is an electronically controlled shutter. I believe the mirror acts as a shutter that opens and closes like a diaphragm on the inside of this on this camera. So you have no control other than focusing, advancing, and taking a picture, and also using a flash. The top of the camera has a shutter release button, a double stroke film advance. You have a port up here to attach a flash if you had it. Your viewfinder on the back. You have a window to see what frame you're on. On the bottom was a port and a tripod socket to mount or sorry, not a port, but well, yeah, it was a port. You know, contacts here for the winder. And on the side here is a lever to open up the camera. On the inside of the camera is where the batteries attach. So when you open this up, if you look on the right side of the camera, you'll see this little clip, and you take that clip out, and it holds two batteries, all right, two button cell type batteries, and you need those batteries in order for the light meter inside the camera to work. So without it, this camera is dead in the water as far as exposure. It won't be able to set the ISO automatically. And once again, the ISO is set by the cartridge itself. There's a notch. Let's see here. There's a notch on this cartridge right here. And when it's in one position, it dictates, say, an ISO of 80. And then if it's in a different position, it dictates an ISO of 400. And I think Kodak started making ISO 400 film toward the end of the 110 run. But typically it was either 80, and it may have been a 100. I'm not 100% sure on that, but there you go. So when you look through the viewfinder on this camera, you'll be surprised at how bright and clear the viewfinder is. Looking through this lens. It's surprisingly easy to to focus and compose using the viewfinder and the lens combination on here. So it was very enjoyable shooting with this camera. You have an extremely quiet shutter on this type of camera. No one even notices that you're using it. No wonder it's called a spy camera, I guess. But the Auto 110, very popular with a lot of photographers back in the day who shot 110 film, and even pros who shot medium format and 35 millimeter had these cameras simply because they were easy to use and just a hoot, if you will. I bought this camera in order to use this lens because these lenses are detachable. There's a lever right here that when you activate that lever, you can screw this lens off and add another lens. Like I said, there's the 50, there's the 18 wide, there's the 70 telephoto, and the zoom, which was a 20 to 40 zoom. And then, by the way, that's the little diaphragm just behind that square that opens and closes when you take the picture. But this lens I wanted to use, believe it or not, on a micro four thirds camera. I had the Panasonic Lumix GF2. This is a micro four thirds camera, and with the appropriate adapter, I can mount that lens to this camera. So if we take this lens off, all right, Nick, you can see my sensor sitting down in there, and you can mount this this adapter and start putting on what some refer to as TV cameras, or I should say CCTV camera lenses on your micro four third cameras, and you get some real, dreamy, interesting looking shots. Oh, I can't get this on. Oh, wait. Let me line that up. There we go. Sorry, I got out of range there. So there you go. So I've already used this for video, and I haven't really used it for shooting stills, but I mainly wanted it to shoot videos. And you get real dreamy, Hoga-like video out of this. Of course, you got to get your focus correct, looking through the my smudged up LCD screen on the back. But once you get your focus down, it's a real trippy kind of a look. I enjoy using it, and that's why I bought this. And eventually, I will get the other lenses, maybe the 18 millimeter wide, which is much wider than this 24 millimeter. And they're all f2.8, every last one of them. So that's why I bought this particular camera and the lens, was just to get after this particular lens to use it on my micro four thirds camera. But there you go. This is the Auto 110, and I'm shooting with it for the month of July, my analog project 2012. Once again, let's talk about processing. The issue that I have with this is that processing 110 film has become a bit of a pain because most of the processing centers around the country have stopped processing 110 film. They probably stopped doing that back in the early 2000s when nobody was bringing it in. There's still a few places online that you can send your film out to. One of them is called the Dark Room. The Dark Room will process 110 film. Typically, they process film. It's like $10 a roll of 35 millimeter, but when you start getting into 110 and other formats, it's considered like a specialty, so they end up charging you more to process that. So just to process 2 rolls of film and have the negative scanned and burned to CD cost me almost $29. Actually, it was about $29. So as far as its cost, if you're not okay with spending that kind of money to process film, I suggest you stay away from the 110 film cameras. And I hate to say that. I don't want to poo-poo anybody who likes 110 film, but I found it fairly expensive to have this stuff processed and burned. If you want to get your own 110 film camera, they sell some real cheap ones out there that are like $40 to $60, but they do very low res scans. And then there's the holders that hold the negatives. Those are hard to find. They're like $80, and there's no guarantee that they will fit your flatbed scanner. So it's kind of a pain in the neck to get this stuff processed and into a digital format so that you can share the stuff online. Some places will still, if they process it, they will print it. Some places won't print it. So you're just going to have to feel it around. So right now, the Dark Room, you can find them online. Just Google the Dark Room. Also, Lomography has a film lab, and they'll process your film for about $13, $14 a roll. print it up, maybe put the images on a CD for you. But either way, you're looking at, $15 to $16 per roll, and that makes it more expensive than the film itself, and that's kind of a bummer. I'm down to my last 3 rolls of film. I may or may not shoot this. I'm not 100% sure, mainly based on the cost of getting the stuff processed. But I still enjoy the camera, although I may not be using this again ever because of the cost, but the lenses will live on my my Micro Four Thirds camera. So there you go, the Pentax Auto 110 for my Analog Project 2012 in the month of July. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next month with another camera.